We earn money, save money and buy things. Living beyond the economic cycle is impossible. What trends are dictated by world markets and how does it affect consumers? Watch it in People and Economy. In this episode, you will know about the value of the global real estate market, the risks of cooperation with unfair estate agents, and how citizens of Kazakhstan can buy real estate in Georgia. The real estate market is a major part of any national economy and accounts for more than 50% of the global wealth. According to analysts from Savills, the total cost of all constructed pieces of immovable property all over the world reached $217 trillion. This is almost 3 times more than the global GDP and approximately 60% of the world's traditional assets. The total cost of gold ever mined in the history of humankind nears $6 trillion. This is 36 times less than the cost of all pieces of property all over the world. The cost of residential premises only, which include approximately 2.5 billion households, is $162 trillion. A librarian by training and a realtor by birth, Larissa Stepanenko has been helping people to sell and buy their homes for more than 10 years. Interestingly, she found herself in this sphere by a mere chance.
По семейным обстоятельствам
I decided to change my occupation for personal reasons. At that time, my friend advised me to become a real estate agent. Their company was recruiting staff and offering 2-week training courses. So I was intrigued and came to these courses. They were going to employ only 3 people from 24 trainees, and I was one of them.
взять всего 3 человека, я была в том числе.
As in the case with many other real estate agents, the first step in Larissa's career ladder was the work on the secondary housing market, a new profession which she liked very much, and her skills get across with each customer in a short period led Larissa to a new level, the work with elite housing. Furthermore, after proving herself as a good employee in this area, she was entrusted to manage commercial facilities. Working with them was more interesting and profitable. After mastering the basics of this profession, Larissa came to the conclusion that it was high time to set up her own company.
Я полюбила очень эту сферу деятельности.
I liked this sphere of activity very much. At that time, the company where I established my career started to break apart. My colleagues told me that they didn't want to leave the market and this job. After that, they proposed me to establish a firm. This is how the idea to open my own agency was born. And in 2009, we opened Visit Agency. There were only 5 of us.
5 человек, мои работники, мы открыли агентство «Визит».
Nowadays, Larissa's company is quite successful on the market of Kazakhstan, but like in any other business, it also faces quite a lot of challenges. The main work is conducted in close contact with customers. Therefore, convenient human factor implicates brokers' work. More often than not, a realtor is caught in the crossfire when a seller and buyer have different opinions, Larissa explains. Irregular working hours are another drawback. Nonetheless, Larissa likes her job and is not frightened even by problem transactions.
Совершить сложную сделку – это некий, знаете, драйв, где документы не в порядке, где выправить все документы, где добиться там.
Executing a deal is a kind of drive and thrill. This may include rectifying improperly completed documents, seeking authorization or some concessions from banks and solving other problems. And the more complicated the deal is, the more it is interesting for me.
На 5 баллов, да, это вот некий драйв, азарт некий, и меня он всегда увлекает. Чем сложнее сделка, мне интереснее работать.
What are the duties of a real estate agent? This is not only the assistance in selling and purchasing of flats. This is also paperwork, consulting people how to take out mortgage, and many other things. Along with that, a realtor should be always prepared to force majeure events, because even a simple at first sight deal may bring you unpleasant surprises. For Larissa, such turn of events has become a common practice.
Женщина покупала в ипотеку дом. Вот, она стопроцентно благополучный покупатель.
A woman was taking out a mortgage in order to buy a house. She was a 100% trouble-free buyer with high incomes who gave us documentary evidence. She chose a house which perfectly suited her documentation package. The only thing left to do was to approve the deal by the loan committee. Imagine my surprise when the loan committee rejected her credit. When I asked about the reason, officials of the security department explained me that the bank viewed this project as risky. When I consulted all the articles of the civil code concerning banks' doubts and requested for a meeting with the bank's officials, During negotiations, I demonstrated them proper articles from the civil code. Finally, my customer obtained a loan and bought the house.
Я ищу одну статью из Гражданского кодекса. Результат – моя покупательница купила этот дом, и банк прокредитовал.
The property market always drew attention not only of real estate agents but of frauds. Meeting with such people may cause a number of troubles, from penetration of burglars into your flat under the guise of buyers to retitling your flat in fraudster's name.
У нас агентство...
Our agency worked with a woman who also got in trouble like this. Some agents came to her and promised to sell her flat in a short time. In return, they convinced her to transfer them a property title, allegedly to speed up the process. In another case, fraudsters offered a flat owner to sell his property in a short time in return of 50% of the flat cost. This is nonsense.
Это вообще нонсенс.
To avoid falling across unfair brokers, Larissa recommends to consult the United Association of Realtors of Kazakhstan, where she holds position of the vice president. The association unites dozens of companies which established themselves as effective in the market of our country. The organization's duties include training realtors, assisting the victims of poor service delivery, and so on.
Все, что делает ассоциация, она делает для того, чтобы рынок был понятным, прозрачным.
The association does everything to make the market clear, transparent, and plain. As a result, customers will understand that there are realtors with the status and without it. In other words, that there are agents who understand their duties and can render services in a proper way. We make every effort to attract our market as many people as possible. Our professionals educate them and offer their services at a proper level.
Чтобы рынок не казался серым.
Every month, from 10 to 15,000 flats and houses are sold in Kazakhstan. At the end of the first quarter of this year, more than 50,000 sales transactions were made throughout the country. This is almost 20% more than last year. It is worthy of note that earlier one-room flats were most in demand. However, since recently, realtors record rising interest to two-flat housing. Experts explain this by the reducing price difference. Most of transactions were made in Almaty and Astana, the cities with the most expensive real estate. According to Krisha KZ web portal, the most expensive private properties in Almaty, the cost of 1 square meter reaches on the average 378,000 tenge. It is followed by Astana with almost 355,000. Aktau is on the third place with 290,000 tenge. In Karaganda and Shymkent, the average price of 1 square meter of living space is 200,000 tenge. The cheapest housing was registered by specialists in Aktobe and Taras, 177 and 187,000 tenge correspondingly. Even a slightest variation in prices at the housing market automatically affects salaries of realtors, architects, designers and builders. But what do property prices consist in? First of all, these are building materials. Location is another important factor. The closer is the house or flat to educational and medical institutions, transport infrastructure, shops and other social facilities, the higher is its cost. And even when housing prices go down, flats in city centers remains to be highly priced. Taxes, utilities cost and even average annual temperature in the region are also of importance, and that is not all.
Но на стоимость недвижимости традиционно влияют в первую очередь.
Housing prices traditionally depend on all economic factors. In other words, general economic trends in the country are fundamental information of housing prices. Among them are wage, unemployment and occupation level, as well as inflation rate.
Уровень инфляции и уровень занятости.
More than 7 million square meters of housing are commissioned in Kazakhstan annually. Experts predict that in the nearest future this figure will reach 10 million. Development of the housing market positively affects all the economy sectors. Primarily, this reduces unemployment rate. The demand for architects, designers, builders and other specialists continues to grow. Along with that, this enhances the country's property wealth and living standards. According to experts, housing construction and increasing number of commissioned houses depend first of all on the demographic situation in the country.
Рынок будет, несмотря ни на что, развиваться. У нас в год рождаемость.
The market will continue to develop in spite of everything. About 300,000 new citizens are born in our country annually. For reference, the mortality rate is 230 to 250,000 people annually. Therefore, population in our country is increasing. For example, only in Kizilorda, 170,000 people are born annually. As a result, we have to construct a new urban center every year.
Новый город вообще, по сути дела. Масштаба Караганды, масштаба областного центра.
For those who are unable to pay 100% of the housing value or high mortgage rates, a number of state programs are in place to provide people with affordable square meters. One of them, Nurlajir, consists of several programs: affordable housing, region development program, as well as Nurlajir. More than 100,000 flats are to be commissioned before the end of the year. More than 25% of them will be constructed at the cost of state investment. Young families and those who are in the waiting list may reckon on cheap housing.
То есть, если вы будете накапливать в нашем банке порядка 50 тысяч тенге в месяц,
If you save up your money in your bank to the amount of about 50,000 per month, at the end of the year you will win a 20% state award. In other words, you will save up about 600,000 tenge and additional about 100,000 tenge. Along with that, the bank pays you additional 2%. And if you meet all the requirements and save up your money during 36 or during 72 months, you will be able to take a credit at a preferential rate of about 4 to 5%.
платить очень дешевый платеж.
Purchasing and construction of real estate has always been one of the most beneficial investment tools. In Kazakhstan, this type of deposits is also popular. Most of medium-income residents invest into secondary or inexpensive primary housing, which, in case of leasing, pays off approximately within 7 years. Purchasing housing not only in the native country but abroad is also regarded as a good investment instrument, moreover, if it is located in touristic regions. In most cases, citizens of Kazakhstan give preference to Bulgaria, Spain and Turkey. In those countries, the average price of a flat is about 40,000 euros. Another location available for Kazakhstan is Georgia, in particular Batumi city, where flats can be bought by the representatives of the middle class.
Для Казахстана интересно то, что совсем небольшая и недорогая стоимость этой недвижимости. То есть средняя цена апартамента.
Interestingly, the average price of these apartments on a turnkey basis is only $35,000. And what is more, the Georgian party can provide affordable loans to our citizens within 2 days, despite the fact that they are foreigners. The only thing they need is a foreign travel passport. The amount of the initial contribution, from 10%, also plays an important role. The payback period of this real estate is approximately 4 years.
Взноса от 10%. Окупаемость такой недвижимости составляет примерно 4 года.
The total investment in real estate throughout the world exceeds $1 trillion annually. In European countries, most people prefer to buy housing with commercial purposes. As a result, such investments are paid off in the first years. In fact, the revenue from leasing of apartments in large European cities is about 2,000 euros. It is worth noting that prices are set by the Europeans themselves.
Арендные дома европейцы предпочитают, потому что у них немножко другая культура, да? То есть
The Europeans prefer to live in rental houses because their culture is a little bit different. They think that there is no need to be bound to one and the same place of residence. They can travel across Europe, seek a job in any European country and participate in various interesting projects. Therefore, they think that buying a flat in some particular city on some odd conditions is unnecessary.
в каких-то совершенно диких условиях, при том, что у тебя платежи будут составлять примерно столько же.
Growing population, development of infrastructure and increasing number of foreign and domestic companies led the Asian real estate market to flourishing. It attracts foreign investors like a magnet and not just in terms of consumer purposes. However, becoming the owner of commercial real estate is quite difficult. Owing to the closed market, the prices for real estate in the region are unlikely to go down. On the contrary, prices in the housing market are constantly increasing. Nonetheless, the demand curve continues to go up. Thus, last year in China, the total sales of primary housing exceeded $1 trillion as against $335 billion 7 years ago. It should be noted that some Asian metropolises have even been included into the world top of cities with the most expensive elite real estate. Monaco, where $1 million will be enough for buying only 17 square meters of housing, heads the list of cities with the most expensive real estate. It is followed by Hong Kong and London with 20 and 21 square meters correspondingly. New York, Singapore, Geneva, Sydney, Shanghai and Paris top the list. Los Angeles, where one can buy as much as 57 square meters of elite housing for $1 million, closes the top 10. Since recently, modern design solutions in the area of construction boggle the imagination. Eco-friendly houses are also very popular nowadays. They are built from natural materials and consume minimum water and electricity. One of such projects is Tree Houses, developed by British architect Sam Booth. These are total energy houses located in a forest. They consist of 3 capsules. 2 of them are intended for living and the third one for solar batteries.